All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 2 of the 2022 TSSAA Class 4A state playoff game. Tonight we're here. I'm Stacy Street along with my partner Tony Briggs, Coach Shawn Witten for the Coach Shawn Witten Show. Coach, big opening round. Good to be here at home at Citizens Bank Stadium. But just an outstanding performance against, I know how nervous you were last week. I know that you had a stud coming in. So go ahead and tell our listeners what your assessment is of that.
Well, just couldn't be more proud of the guys and our effort and our execution. Preparation for playoffs. Just taking a step further, raising the level of your game. The offense got the run game going, and defensively, I mean, to hold Wilson, for those amount of total yards of offense was pretty incredible.
You came up and talked to us after the game in the press box, and I'd written down those stats from Wes about the sacks, about the yardage, 84 yards I think he ended up with, the tackles for losses. You got a kid coming in here, and he wanted to sling it. You all just didn't give him a chance to do that.
Well, I thought, we obviously missed an opportunity in the first series for our offense, and then, we allowed them to kind of dink it a little bit, to kind of start the game. And then, once we got that fourth down stop on the first possession, it just seemed like things kind of clicked into gear. And then, we missed 2 opportunities down in the red zone, an opportunity to score there, which we've been money on all year long. And then, the very next possession on defense, I think the pressure in his face really got to him. The tip balls, the batted balls that we mentioned last week that we just needed more of. And then as soon as we got the turnover, that was the confidence we needed to kind of get this thing, kind of steamrolling. But, just our coverage was really good. I thought Teddy Orton had one of his better games at corner. I thought that, the underneath people, we really stressed for about 6 weeks, with the areas we've got to improve. And then, it's good to see Ben Adams and Brad and then, some of our blitzes and things, put pressure on the quarterback.
We interviewed somebody else up in the press box last week, 82. Mason Ball came up there. And, first game back in a while. And I made this comment to somebody the other day. I'm so old, and I've been around here so long that I've said it many times. You were the best high school football player I've ever seen, as far as all phases of the game. The most dominant performance I've ever seen by someone was your brother Jason when he came back from that injury.
Right.
When he came back for those few games, he had a hunger about him that he was sideline to sideline. He was going to catch every ball. He was going to make every tackle. And watching Mason Ball last week and interviewing to hear his responses, I see that same kind of attitude in him, and he made a huge difference. Right?
He did, and he was really hungry.
I think that's what I'm looking at.
I think our whole defense had something about us Friday night that kind of showed that, how much better we've gotten, what we could do. And the thing about with Wilson becomes tough is, they had some quarterback draws. He was also the leading rusher. They did some shovel passes and inside zone, outside zone. But, Mason he's an impact player. They got to know where he's aligned, just inside and outside, the twists up and underneath. And then, the hybrid of those guys being able to play up on their feet, when that tackle oversets and the thought of him coming up and under and the inside move, or, if they don't kick slide enough, he's going to use the speed rush off the edge. Those are difference maker type players because of their effort, their energy. Nothing's really going to stop him, Friday night in that performance. But, when he came back, it was, I think, Ben and everybody else kind of, fed off of him, and it made things a lot better for our whole defense.
You see the batted balls too.
Yes, sir.
You talked about that last week. Go ahead.
You speak. We talked about it on the show several times that when you go from the 1s to the 2, you don't want to see a drop down. When you put in Gerard and you put in Luke last week, the same intensity was there. You couldn't even tell if you did not realize that they hadn't started. You couldn't tell by watching their head.
Well, I think this time of the year you got to give guys breaks, especially in the skill positions. we've got guys that need breaks at point of the games, and you can't have that drop off. And I thought our guys have been working really hard. Luke is a good enough corner and safety. Dry, just it seems like he's always around the ball. He kind of finds the ball, he makes plays happen. But we've got to be able to get guys break, whether it's Nate carrying the ball, whether it's Cade carrying the ball, whether it's Dalton the quarterback, and get some adjustments on the sideline. You need those series where you can get good minutes from the guys that can come in and make those plays.
Now let's flip it over to the offensive side of the ball. Offensively, I know you want to come in, you like to be 50-50 as close as possible, but that run game, you didn't even have to drop back and pass. That run game was phenomenal.
Well, I mean, a lot like Stacy said, I think with Mason Ball coming back, I think there was something to kind of prove with our offensive line too, and I think that McDuffie stepping up and the rest of those guys' line had kind of something to prove there with Big Sam out, and they played for Big Sam and wanted to show and work hard for him, and they did it. We were moving pretty good. Our zones were flowing pretty good. We're kind of hitting the cutback some there, and so it made the play calling a whole lot easier when you get that going. So just I think our offensive line in the same sense of last week with Mason coming back, and then all of a sudden we had the hiccup with Sam there. Just those guys had something heavy heart playing for Sam there.
And it looked like Cade is getting back to the Cade of old. He was running the ball hard. It seemed like.
Well, I mean, we got a series there where we got comfortable and we wanted to be patient, and we kind of hammered down a little bit in some 21 personnel package. And I think this time of the year, I mean, he has. I mean, he's gotten back to himself. He's got a little bit of a burst, and you can see it from the secondary standpoint, and even running the ball a little bit. I mean, he's got a little mean streak at him when he's wanting to run. I still tell Cade, we're trying to score, not run over people at times. But so just proud of our guys because they've done for Cade to come back from that vicious blow early on. I mean, it was going to take 5 weeks, 6 weeks to kind of heal up from there. I mean, we've mentioned many times anybody else that guy wouldn't have been playing, but we're happy with Cade, the progress he's made. He's a big part of our schemes and what we want to do, and it's good to see him kind of respond and take over that other role with that Nate's kind of taking over that first team running back role, and he's kind of moved around. It's good to kind of have an unselfish guy in Cade to do that.
Last question on this first segment. The play that stood out to me that really just showed our intensity was when they run that crosser. Dalton come to the middle. Guy called it. Cade's a backside safety. He runs him down from the backside, catches him, tackles him. He tackles him and goes in the end zone. But Cade had probably 15, was probably behind 10 to 12.
Well, that's the first play we showed on Monday when we got a team meeting. That's the type of effort. Anything could happen at that moment. One, he could have fumbled. Two, his knee could have been down. And then, that's taking the next step from round one to round two. That's the difference of how you're going to win these next several games is that type of effort. So I thought that was a key play that everybody needed to see of, we're right where we need to be. We're executing at a high level. We get that type of effort. Now, listen, execution, schemes, it still comes down to ball players. And if our ball players play like that, then we got a good chance to win.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do us for this segment. As we recap last week's convincing win in round one of the playoffs, when we come back, we'll talk about week two opponent, a familiar foe in a familiar place, as we take on the Anderson County Mavericks. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Coach Shawn Witten Show. Coach, going back to Anderson County, we were there in week 5. This is a totally different team if you're going back and watching from where we was at week 5 to where we was at week 6. Just offensive scheme, it seems like we found our niche.
Well, I mean, I think both teams, have improved and gotten better. I mean, I think there's a lot of respect there. And, it's just you keep playing and you keep grinding, you keep finding ways to go. And I mean, just our guys have just each week, have found another gear, found another way to make plays. But all based off offensively what our offensive line can do, just from our pass protections to our run blocking to a little bit of misdirection, and just the ability to throw the ball short, the ability to hit the ball deep. I mean, it all falls back to what our offensive line can do, and I think those guys have found a pretty good rhythm.
I'll let Stacy talk on the defense. He's a defensive guy. Offensively, you sit and you look at Anderson County, the last 3 films, they've been anywhere between 3-man front to a 4-man front. They've taken 25 and 18, played them at Mike and inside backers. They put them on the outside. What are you expect? What's your gut tell you coming to the night that we're going to see?
Well, I don't know about all that. I think the biggest thing that gets in your back of your mind is you got to just stick to the game plan. What happens when a lot of people play Anderson County is, number one, they got Martinez, they have the ability to kind of score, but you got to stay, you got to stick to your game plans, and so and that just can't get away from the things that we're really good at, the things that we can do. It just we just obviously can't turn over the ball, but I mean, obviously we got to keep them, can't let them their defense dictate what we do offensively. We got to still be aggressive, still make some plays, and you can't really worry about what they're lined up in and what they're going to do. I think we just got to be good enough that we don't run ourselves into a bad blitz. We don't put ourselves into force the ball, where it doesn't need to go. I still think it comes down to the small detail things of. Just comes down to execution and communication is the biggest thing.
Sam's going to be a game time decision whether he plays or not. Duff looked good in there last week. When you come down there and you had the jumbo package where you brought in Mason and you brought in Brad, that was a little bit different than what Anderson County seen the last time, and they've seen in quite a few years. On that particular package, what makes you feel, gives you the warm and fuzzy feeling when you see that package?
Well, I mean, I think that, obviously, it's no different than when Anderson County came to play us last year and Martinez was gone. You're just trying to figure out a way to win. And, with 30 and 34 that they had last year and 25, I mean, you're just trying to get your best players on the field. You're trying to get the biggest guys on the field. I mean, it's a lot like bringing Trenton, from the defense side over to the offense side over. It's just, you're just getting your big bodies in there. And then, they're just – when you get Mason Ball and Brad running at you, it's different than, different than other people. So, I mean, there's times when, those guys kind of feed off of that. You bring a lot of juice, you bring a lot of energy. The other team kind of knows what you're going to bring right there. But, it's just a different bodies when you get, 6'4", 200 pounds coming at you versus, 6 foot, 175 pounds. So just figuring out different ways to win. Down on the goal line, sometimes it gets closer and closer. It gets tougher to score. So, you definitely got to just keep things mixing up as you get closer to the goal line. But, it's just trying to find a way to win and get the best people out on the field and make good decisions. And, hopefully we can find a way to get in the end zone and make it pretty easy.
Last question for Flint and Stacy. Tonight, going into tonight's contest, what is the key? We know coaches speaking, you watch the line of scrimmage, watch it bow. You got to be able to be 50-50. What do you give me one tangible? That's going to be a key to the game.
We got to play 4 quarters. I mean, you look at the game last time, 21-7.5. Knew they were going to make a run. Got to play 4 quarters. You can win a couple series, you can win a couple plays, but what we did in that game. We made it a 4-quarter game, double overtime game. Our kids played their tails off. We just got to play. We got to play 4 quarters. I mean, start out slow. Get to the next quarter. You start out fast. You got to continue playing. And so these type games, just really 2 really good teams, and you just got to keep playing all the way to the end.
Let's pick it up on the defensive side. You've got another stud at quarterback coming in. We've seen him once this year. We've seen what he's capable of doing, and it kind of ties into what you're saying. You may stop him from 3, but you may not going to stop him all 4. He's got 3,000 yards plus. He's got 44 touchdowns. What's your game plan for dealing not only with him but that other weapon that they have on offense?
Well, I mean, I think, part of it is it's like any quarterback. I mean, you try to disguise them some looks. Moving some guys around. I mean, I think there's only so many coverages you can play, man and zone, and then rolling the safeties, moving some guys. I mean, we just got to keep hands in his face, keep the rush lanes there. I mean, try to put pressure on him when we can. And then, they just do such a great job because Moog and, Doe can catch the ball in the backfield. And then, where Martinez is really great is just is the play action pass and the ability to get the ball down the field. But we just did a good job not giving up the big play. But I think the biggest thing is just, can we get guys like, Ben Adams had a big game the first time we played. It's just, you got to, those pass rush lanes become key, as long as you can have somebody in his face at all time. I mean, it just makes it difficult for him to make those throws.
Let's talk big picture. Last time we go down there this year, and trust me, I hate that place. I hate that place. We've been down there way too much, for way too long. But we go down there and we're 1-3. Nobody gives you a chance. What may be what some people are saying, the best team in the state. And for me, that was the turning point for this team this year. We're meeting them again because we played them so well in that game. Nobody gave us a chance. Mason Ball's out. Dalton's struggling at quarterback. What flipped the switch then, and how is it different now than it was then?
Well, I think at that moment, our kids accepted the challenge, that I think Anderson County's hungry for the success that we've had the last couple of years, and they're sitting right there. They know that their window for this group, this is their time, and so we just challenged our group that we had to match their level. We knew the intensity and the energy that they're going to bring, and the weapons that they have, and I think our guys accepted the challenge and we went out and played. But I thought you saw a difference in our guys is just how hard we played. When we would talk about the Greenville game early, our kids played hard. Their kids played harder, our kids played physical. Their kids dominated. And so I think there's just a different, we dug deep and we found a lot about ourselves that game.
And they weren't expecting that. They were beaten in that game. They were beaten in that game. You dictated what happened. You're going to have the similar mindset trying to go in tonight's game against them. You're not going to catch them off guard now. They know that this team's for real. That record didn't represent what was beating inside those players' chests.
Well, I think right now, we just got to go play our game. I think we just can't make it any bigger than what it is. We just got to get out there and we got to play. And we've got game plans and we've worked up to this point. It just comes down to we got to do the things that we've been doing up to this point. We're as healthy as we've been. We're as confident as we've been, and then we peaked at the right time, and that's all you can ask for from our guys is they giving ourselves another chance to be here. People wrote us off last week playing Carter for the second time, and so I just think we just gotta just trust one another and do our jobs, and it's going to be a great high school football game, and then just got to expect it to be a 4-quarter game, just like it was last time. It comes down to those, those final couple decisions on the last couple drives, and you just got to be able to hang on. We talk about a lot about just, whatever happens, you can't flinch. You just got to be able to stay in the moment, flush the previous play. Don't look too far ahead. Just kind of stay in the moment, play one play at a time.
You got to grind again against somebody else that wants to get where we've been, and you're facing another senior-led team, just like last year.
I think there's a lot. I respect people that work out in the off season. I respect people that they are well coached. They do run good schemes. They're going to throw a bunch of different things at you. They do have some people that are unselfish receivers and things. They do have some guys that play both ways and suck it up. I'm on my guys all the time. You got to suck it up. You got to suck it up. You just got to give it to us. They got some interior people that play both ways. But, these are the moments that, we've thrived in the last several years. And, for a lot of people, the regular season means a lot. For us, postseason's kind of where you want to stand and kind of build your foundation. So, our season could have gone a lot of different ways. And we're here. We just got to go let it play, and just super proud of our guys just because, just we're playing our best football at this point in time, and that's all you can ask for.
Coach, as always, we thank you for that. That's going to do it for tonight's version of the Coach Shawn Witten Show. As the Cyclones Road Warriors load up on the bus and head down to Clinton, Tennessee to face the Anderson County Mavericks in round 2 of the TSSAA playoffs. Tony and I will be back after these words from our sponsors with our pregame show, and we'll have your kickoff at 7 o'clock in this big contest for the Cyclones. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.